Hey everybody, this is Matt, and today I'm at the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival. But I wanted to do a video for Sunday, so Joy and I were having some coffee this morning, and Mila the hound, the great big plot hound, is chewing a bone. But I was listening to the undertones, and I'm like, Joy, listen to this. This is exactly like the Les Paul sound that I like. And she's like, well, what am I listening for? And I'm like, well, you hear that like sleazy, rotten sounding guitar, that Les Paul through a Marshall or maybe a Fender or whatever it was. I love that sound, like Steve Jones, Johnny Thunders, and all that stuff. I love that sound. I like P90s. I like humbuckers, and she was like, well, what's the difference between this, that, and the other? And I'm like, well, sometimes you just know, and sometimes guitar players, they just have like their own sonic signature. By the way, today's video is brought to you by our good buddies at Stuart McDonald. I met Chris from Stuart McDonald at the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival yesterday, and link in the description below for all your StewMac needs. And happy birthday, Dan Erlewine. Anyway, on with the show, right? So I said, Joy, why don't you look up a bunch of guitar players, and I'll see if I can name what guitar they're the most famous for playing. And so she's like, okay, let's do a video on them. Great idea. So Joy is behind the camera, and she's going to read off the guitar. What are you going to read off?
Top 100 guitar players and their guitars.
Okay, now some of these are going to be easy, right? Some of them are going to be harder than others. So why don't you guys play along at home and see if you know all the answers? I'm sure you do. Joy's we're not gonna do 100, right? We're gonna do a handful. Maybe we'll do all 100.
I might skip through some too.
You might skip through some.
But they're a little bit more obscure.
Okay, all right. We'll see how many Joy decides to do, and we'll see how many I get right, and we'll see how many you guys get right too. So this will be fun, and let's see what we have. So without further ado, Joy, hit me with your best shot. That's Pat Benatar, and Spider played Hamer on I think on that video. Okay, go ahead.
First one, of course, is Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, of course, played lots of guitars, but is most famous for the Fender Stratocaster. But, you know, you guys know this too. There's lots of pictures of Jimmy with Dan Electros, Gibsons, stuff like that. But, of course, you know, like the Woodstock footage, he played the Strat. Monterey Pop played or not Monterey, I don't know, when he lit on fire.
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page. Okay, another guy who played lots and lots of guitars. But I'm going to say, I don't know where Joy's looking, but...
Top two.
Huh?
His top two that he played.
His top two. I'm gonna say, gosh, that's hard for me to. So I think the ones he's most remembered for playing is gonna be the Gibson double neck, and probably the Les Paul or the Telecaster. I want to say that like a lot of that stuff was probably recorded with a Tele, but you know, on stage he played that double neck. Well, you see pictures of him with that one. What do they say?
They show the picture of him with the double neck,
yeah.
And then they say it's the Fender Telecaster and the Gibson Les Paul.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Eric Clapton.
Aaron Claflin. Okay, some of these guys have like switched. So
electric and acoustic.
Oh, acoustic. I'm never gonna know because acoustics are bad luck and nobody should own one. So Eric Clapton, when he was in Cream, he played that Gibson SG, and I think when he was in the Blues Breakers, he played a Les Paul. But he's now known for a signature model Fender Stratocaster, and he's played lots of guitars throughout. I don't know what acoustic guitars he would play, but yeah.
The only one I know.
The only one I know, Martin.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen. Okay, another guy who's played lots and lots and lots of guitars through history. I think he's probably most widely or most notably most notably played the his homemade Frankenstrat that was a Boogie Body second, and that thing has had a pile of necks on it. That's the red. That was the red, white, and black guitar. That of course was the white and black guitar on Van Halen 1, and then got a paint upgrade. Originally had a regular Fender synchronized tremolo system, and then of course got the Floyd Rose. But Eddie Van Halen played lots of stuff. He played Les Pauls. He played that Ibanez Destroyer that he cut all up, and then he played a Steinberger that had that same kind of Eddie Van Halen signature paint job. My dog is howling and whining because we're not talking about her. And then of course he went on to have the Wolfgang series. Mimi. Huh? Oh, so then of course he played the his Wolfgang series of guitars, which, you know, I I think that the original thing with Eddie was he wanted to have a guitar that sounded thick like a Les Paul through something that was as comfortable to play as a Strat. You guys know that all my videos are unscripted, right? So there's going to be like a lot of blah, blah, blah. But I think that when he landed on the Wolfgang stuff, he wanted he was definitely knew he wanted the scale that he wanted and the neck material that he wanted, the trem that he wanted. So yeah, the Wolfgang series guitar really represents an evolution of certainly lots of learning on Eddie's part and lots of searching on his part too. So
did you mention a Kramer?
Oh, Kramer's, yeah. So of course Kramer made I think Kramer in the 80s was the only guitar company you could get a Floyd on. I think. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. So the Kramer Berettas and stuff, he played those. But of course, I think he's most widely known for his basically inventing the Super Strat, and it's that red, white, and black one, which of course was lots of things before. And of course, Dimebag Darrell is buried with the guitar from Van Halen 2, right? The black and yellow one. I don't know if that's Van Halen 2 or not. Anyway.
David Gilmour.
I don't know what he played back in the old days. I think it was probably always Strats, and of course he's got a signature Fender Strat now. And I think at that Live at Pompeii video, I think he played a Strat. He probably has had other guitars, yeah. So
It's
mostly Strats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Stevie Ray.
Okay, Stevie Ray, of course, had lots and lots and lots of guitars, and I want to say they were mostly Strats. Of course, you guys all remember his number one that had the little custom sticker on it because he had he wanted a left-handed trem arm that was on top so he could sound more like Jimmy. Maybe that's what he did. I don't know. That's what I think he did it for. But he had left-handed trem on that one. But he had lots of guitars that were Strats. I really liked the one that was a Strat shape. It had Stevie Ray on the fretboard, and I can't remember where I saw that. It was like maybe a Monterey show or something, or Austin City Limits or something. You guys would know better than me, but yeah. BB King, of course, the Lucille. Now I think I'm gonna get this wrong because I'm gonna say it's a 335, but it's probably not. It's probably like a 347 and a half or something. I'm not sure what model. 355. Okay. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the model was, but so I guess it's the Gibson 355. It looks a lot like the 335, but it's got like a rotary switch instead of a
That's cool.
Maybe in addition to the toggle. I'm not sure, but Lucille BB is definitely known for Lucille. Les Paul. Okay, here's a bit of trivia. You guys know who owns who owned serial number 0001 Fender Telecaster? Les Paul. There was a time when Leo Fender wanted Les Paul to be one of his players, and Les Paul decided, no, I want to do this thing with I want to push my own guitar. I want to make my own thing. If you've ever read that Birth of Loud book, you know that guys like Leo Fender, Les Paul, Paul Bigsby, they all hung out together. They all knew each other. They all were, getting ideas from each other. But of course, Les Paul is probably best known for playing his signature model Gibson, the Les Paul. And that's what's funny to me that there's a bunch of Slash has that's not a good example. Because his signature model of his version of a signature model of a signature model is actually a signature model of a copy of a signature model of a copy of a signature. Anyway, but yeah, so the original signature model was the Gibson Les Paul.
This one's a timely one.
Okay.
Carlos Santana.
Carlos Santana, of course, has played lots of stuff, to include the Gibson SG. There's probably some Fenders in there, the Yamaha SG 2000, but is these days most remembered for playing his Paul Reed Smith Carlos Santana model, which is a little different. I know you guys know this. I'm just saying this because I think it's funny. We've been doing a lot of PRS style workshops, and I love I'm going to say classic PRS shape, where the top horn is a little longer than the bottom horn. The Santana model, the top horn is a little shorter than the regular PRS one. It's probably still longer than the bottom horn, but just by a little bit. It's very reminiscent of the Les Paul Jr. Double Cutaway, which is one of my all-time favorite guitars. And if you load one with P90s and crank it through Marshall and it buzzes like crazy, so your singer can't say anything in between songs, that's my favorite kind of tone. And rest in power, Johnny Thunders. Okay.
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck. Okay, another one of those guys who started out playing Gibsons back in the days, like in the Yardbird days. He probably played some... okay, wait. Maybe not started playing Gibsons, because I know there's a bunch of stuff with him with Tellys. Chris Fesker was actually telling me that after Jeff Beck ground the where the forearm contour on a Strat would go, he ground that down on his Telly. He almost got kicked out of the Yardbirds because it looked so awful. But I know there's pictures of him playing Les Pauls, playing Telecasters, but of course now he's got a signature model Strat. I wonder now that he's gone, do they? I don't know what Fender signature model Strats there are these days, but I know there's a bunch of them. So
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry's another one of those guys. I'm gonna say 335, but I know I'm gonna get it wrong. It's a 330. 350.
350T.
350T. Okay, yeah. The Gibson has so many models. I don't know them all. And this gets right back into the Marty McFly's guitar in Back to the Future didn't exist, and whenever the Fish Under the Sea dance was. But yeah, Chuck Berry has a lot of cool guitars. I like the stories of Chuck Berry, who, he got burned so many times by sleazy scumbag concert promoters that he would put his guitar cord in his amp, run it through a briefcase full of money through the handle, and wrap it around the handle, and then plug it into his guitar. So during his shows, so no one would steal his money during shows, is what I heard.
Dwayne Allman.
Dwayne Allman. Again, I'm going to say probably Les Paul. And you guys know that, although I don't know what other guitars Dwayne played. I know Dickie Betts played Les Pauls and Paul Reed Smiths, but I think Dwayne is probably most remembered for the Les Paul.
59 Gibson Les Paul, dubbed the Big House.
The Big House 59 Les Paul. The
Brian
coolest
May.
of the cool. Brian May. Well, there's no model number, and there's no I guess it's a May. So Brian and his father built that guitar out of a table and a fireplace mantle. And one of my favorite YouTube videos, I don't know which or like how to find it, but one of my favorite YouTube videos is there's like some guy from Premier Guitar or something, and he's asking Brian May, "Hey, have you ever played another guitar?" And he's like, "Nah, I really like this one. This is like my guitar. Me and my dad made it." And he kind of starts answer shopping, like, what about this? Have you ever played it? And he's like, no, I never have. I really like this one. And finally, Brian May's like, look, you can ask me a whole bunch of times. I'm just going to say the same thing. I don't play any other guitars. I like this one. Now, of course, there's other guys who've made, when he goes on tour, I'm sure he has stuff that have been made for him. But his number one guitar is still that one that him and his father made. So.
And then he kind of split the difference. He played Strats, Tellys, Les Pauls, and the Flying V.
Who did?
Brian May.
Brian May played.
Okay.
No
favorites other than that.
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, the one that he records
Special.
with is the Red Special. Yeah, there's books written about that guitar. I have one, thanks to Loring Court.
Richie Blackmore.
Richie Blackmore is probably best known for playing his Strat. What's your favorite Richie Blackmore song, you guys? Mine is Rainbow Death Alley Driver, and he's playing a fat headstock Strat. But now these days I think he plays like kind of medieval instruments, like lutes and whatever stuff made out of gourds with strings on them and stuff. But I'm gonna say Strat. Is that?
Yep.
You guys know that. Enjoy the comment section of this is gonna be loaded with guys saying, actually, Matt, he played all these other things too, Richie Blackmore and.
I'm telling you what's on here. So
Sure. But you know how guitar guys are. They like to know stuff.
Randy Rhoads.
Randy Rhoads. Okay, Randy Rhoads is one of my favorites because, of course, you guys remember him playing like Les Paul Customs, the Jackson Randy Rhoads V. But my favorite Randy Rhoads guitar, I'm gonna get the luthier's name. I'm not even gonna try to remember the luthier's name because I can't remember it. But the Polka Dot V with kind of the arrow, kind of like jagged. Well, it's not jagged, but it's got like kind of a fishhook kind of. Not a fishhook. With the no, not that one. It's a regular shaped V, and it's got a headstock that's not exactly like a Gibson V. And that guitar, if you don't know the history on that, you can look it up. I think Randy Rhoads paid a luthier $750 to build that for him in '81 or whatever. And the guy who built it for him wasn't making necks at the time, but he had a bunch of Dan Electro necks. So the neck on that guitar is made of poplar, and I don't think it even has an adjustable truss rod. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And it has those propeller inlays, so it was irregular dots, and then the guy went in and he put in the little propeller inlays, and but that guitar probably has like 21 frets, and it's got a poplar neck. So everybody out there tapping on wood, Randy Rhoads had a poplar neck guitar that was awesome, and
his maker of choice, they're saying, is Jackson.
Jackson, of course, yeah, was the guy. The guys who made and maybe still make the Randy Rhoads V and all that stuff. But Randy played lots and lots of stuff. Great guitar player, and a fun story too. His polka dot V is a cool story. If you don't know it, you should look that one up.
Muddy Waters.
Muddy Waters. I'm gonna guess.
His name is actually McKinley Morganfield.
All I know is Muddy Waters invented electricity. I think that, one of my very favorite albums of all time is Muddy Waters and Johnny Winter. And I don't know what Muddy Waters was playing on that, but it was probably a Telecaster. And I bet you Muddy Waters would play like whatever they would give him. I think that Muddy Waters would play lots and lots of different guitars. But I know that he played a Telecaster a lot. But there's probably some other stuff. I have no idea.
They're just saying his maker's Fender.
Fender, okay.
Yeah. Mark Knopfler.
Mark Knopfler has many, many guitars. Plays Strats. I think they're in the Money for Nothing video. You can see him with the Les Paul. Don Grosch is lucky enough to have Mark Knopfler play his guitars every so often. Don is a guy who's lives very close to me. He's in the neighborhood. I don't think I've ever actually met Don. I don't know. Maybe I have and I don't remember. I've been to his shop. I went there with Bobby Smith one time, and it was maybe like, "Hi, I'm Don," but I want to say he was in the paint booth. Anyway, can we turn the fan off?
Oh.
Yeah, is that
I don't know even who this is. Alec Lifeson.
Alec Lifeson from Rush. Alex Lifeson, right? Or is it Alec or Alex?
It's Alex.
Alex Lifeson. I thought so. So I know that he's played Les Pauls, and I know that he plays Paul Reed Smith, but there's, I'm not sure what the penultimate Alex Lifeson guitar is. I'm going to say either Les Paul or Paul Reed Smith. Okay.
Steve Vai.
Steve Vai is another one of those guys who played lots and lots of stuff. As a matter of fact, he played, I want to say when he was playing with Frank Zappa, he played that guitar that Jimi Hendrix gave Frank Zappa. He played that a lot. In that Crossroads movie, he had that custom Charvel thing. He played. I want to say that the guitar that he actually recorded that stuff on Crossroads with was that greeny one, but in the movie he had a red one. Now he's most known for his endorsement deal with Ibanez, and he has the Jamm, and I'm sure he has lots of other stuff. He has that one that looks like flames. That's cool. I don't even remember who made that. That just some custom guy probably made that. And then he had the triple neck thing with two necks going this way, and all kinds of other crazy stuff. Yeah, Steve Vai he's a monster.
Okay, Prince, who will obviously have many, but how about the two obscure ones that he?
Oh, the two obscure Prince guitars? What? Okay.
Well, to me, that's not it.
Okay, so what is it? The Hofner.
Hohner.
Hohner. Oh yeah, Hofner and okay, I get those mixed up. So the Hohner Telecaster style guitar with a bunch of cool tortoise appointments, including a stripe down the middle. That's not tortoise. I think it's just walnut or something. Neat guitars. And then, of course, the Prince Cloud guitar is famous from that Purple Rain movie. And he had that, remember he had the artist formerly known as symbol? He had a guitar made that looked like that, and he played the Super Bowl one year, and it sort of looked like a great big dong in the silhouette.
Buddy Guy?
Buddy Guy, of course, has a Strat with a bunch of polka dots on it that I think you can still get. Yeah.
Satriani.
Joe Satriani. He has Ibanez these days. I'm not sure. Like before Ibanez was like everybody's go-to guitar in the '80s. I wonder what Joe Satriani played. Probably a Super Strat or like a Charvel or something. I don't know. But of course now he has that JS. Yeah, with the fancy like a metal. It's like almost like the guitar's dipped in chrome. It's so cool.
One of your favorites, Billy Gibbons.
Billy Gibbons has. There are literally books written about all the guitars Billy Gibbons has. Of course, my favorite is his '59 Les Paul Pearly Gates. Probably your favorite too, but man, lots of guitars. One of the neat ones is he's got a hardtail Strat that Jimi Hendrix gave him, and he wrote the song with apologies to Pearly on it, and it's a guitar that he wrote a song and he kind of had to apologize to his favorite guitar because he liked that one so much.
Pete Townsend.
I'm gonna say okay. Les Paul's Strats. I think he has a signature Strat right now. But my favorite Pete Townsend guitars are the Schecter kind of telly shapes that he played with humbuckers and great big brass bridges. Really cool guitars that he played for a long, long time. I don't know that he still does, but yeah, those Schecters were neat. Slash might be one of the most fun topics for me to talk about because the original, Slash has played lots of stuff. Guilds, BC Rich, probably a lot of other things, but is best known for the Appetite for Destruction Les Paul. Back in those days, if you guys were alive then and you saw those videos, and like Guns N' Roses came out and everyone was like, who are these guys? They don't look like Poison or anything. And then Slash came out and just clubbed us over the head with that. And it was like, wow, everybody's got to go out and get Les Pauls now, and no one cares about Floyd's anymore. That's not true. But so Slash's '59 Les Paul that he used on the Appetite for Destruction tour and record was basically a 1982, 83, 84 something copy of a '59 Les Paul made by Chris Deering. And it was, and I think still is, one of Slash's favorite things. So now, of course, you can get a Gibson signature model Slash Les Paul, and it is my very sincerest hope that one day somebody will commission a luthier to build a exact replica of a Gibson. Okay, I want to make sure I get this right. A Gibson Slash signature model of a Les Paul signature model that's a copy of the Chris Deering copy. So you would have a signature model of a signature model of a counterfeit. No, a counterfeit signature model of a counterfeit signature model of a signature model counterfeit. I hope I got that right. So yeah, but Slash, of course, he still plays Les Pauls and is, man, if Brian Setzer is one of the people who single-handedly saved Gretsch, Gibson owes a debt of gratitude to Slash, and I think that they will bend over backwards to make him happy.
Okay, going on to 1936.
1936, Robert Johnson.
Yes.
I have no idea. I don't know what guitar he would have played. I know it was an acoustic. You know how I knew you weren't going to say Charlie Christian? Because I don't think Charlie Christian kludged that pickup into his 130 or whatever until 1938 or 1939. So what did Robert Johnson, did it just say acoustic? Martin or I don't.
A Gibson.
Oh, is a Gibson acoustic? Okay. Oh, I got to readjust myself. Okay. Am I still in the frame here?
Yeah.
Are you guys having fun with this? I'm having a great time with this.
I don't know if I should start wheedling down a little bit.
Sure. What? Yeah. Have a good time.
I'll do one more here. George Harrison.
Oh gosh, George Harrison. Well, of course he played lots and lots of things. Gretsch, Gibson, Fender. But what's my favorite George Harrison guitar? I'm gonna say it's probably the all rosewood Telecaster. And George Harrison can and has played whatever guitar he wanted. When you're George Harrison, you can basically do whatever you want, right? And people probably will run at you with guitars for George to play. But I think that it's probably like Gibson Firebirds and all kinds of other crazy cool stuff, Rickenbackers and things. But
Rickenbackers, that's the first time it's made it into the top 30.
Oh, okay.
Rickenbackers, so.
I think though my favorite George Harrison guitar is going to be the all rosewood Telecaster. Right? It was neat, cool guitar.
Joe Walsh, a couple of his different ones too.
Joe Walsh, okay, he's had a couple. Obviously, there's got to be Les Pauls and Telecasters, because if you just guess Les Paul and Telecaster, you're probably going to be right more than you're wrong. But let's go. My favorite Joe Walsh guitar was one that he had for Carvin before Carvin became Kiesel, and it was that guitar that they were definitely channeling Paul Reed Smith, because there was a time in the maybe not late 80s, but definitely early 90s, everybody wanted to have quilt maple and see-through translucent finishes that looked like, you could dip your hand into them. So it was probably, I don't remember what the model was, DC, does it say what model it was, or did it just say Carvin?
Carvin.
Okay. Yeah, cool, neat guitars. I don't know if they still make it. A Duesenberg. Okay, I didn't know that, yeah.
All right, how about a Chet Atkins? I think I knew this one.
The Chet Atkins, okay, all right. In keeping with what I think it's going to say is the Chet Atkins Country Gentleman from Gretsch.
Yeah.
But little known, very kind of easily forgotten guitar that Chet Atkins had for a while in the mid 80s. One of my favorite Chet Atkins guitars, though I've never actually played one. Gibson made him something called the Silent Acoustic, and I think it was like a solid body that you could record with and get like that classical kind of sound with. It might have even had nylon strings. I don't remember. If you guys know, let me know. I mean, I could look it up, but I always forget. But yeah, Chet Atkins, man, what a monster.
I don't know if I'll say this right, but he has some different guitars on here. Django Reinhardt.
Django Reinhardt. I don't know. Probably Gibsons and probably Martins. I don't know.
Epiphone.
Okay.
And Selmer.
Okay.
Do you know that one at all?
I don't. Yeah, Django Reinhardt, like
Romani French jazz guitar.
Yeah, I wasn't really listening to jazz when I was coming up. Like if you weren't the Buzzcocks or the Sex Pistols, I was. Oh, who's that?
That's his.
That's his? Mm-hmm. Oh wow, I thought it would be.
I think is that an Epiphone?
It may be. Oh, that could be a picture of an Epiphone, but it might not be the one that Django played. I think he was best known for arch tops and acoustics. By the way, guys, I'm at the Arch Top Festival today. I know you're watching this, and by the time you see this, I will have been done with the Arch Top Festival. But.
I'm going to throw this in here because you like him, but Zappa.
Frank Zappa. Okay. Frank Zappa played lots and lots of different guitars. Probably best known for his Gibson SG that he had 100 million switches put on to do all kinds of different stuff. Zappa could play anything. He played a bicycle on the Steve Allen show. No, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't remember.
All right, we're running out of time on this tape.
Okay, all right.
Bo Diddley.
Bo Diddley. Okay. Bo Diddley is famous for the square guitars and the Billy Bo Jupiter Thunderbird and the Corvette. And it is my understanding that somebody made those for him out of Gretsch parts. I want to say it was guys who worked at Gretsch would like get necks and stuff, and they would put guitars together for Bo Diddley. I don't think those were actual Gretsch things you could buy until much, much later. You guys help me out on this one.
Johnny Winter.
I like my favorite Johnny Winter is the Gibson Firebird Johnny Winter. But he had that. Remember that crazy thing that it was like I don't think it was an Erlewine. It was like a razor or something. It was a headless thing contraption with all kinds of. But my favorite is the Firebird.
Robin Trower.
Robin Trower. What Strat? I that's kind of out of my.
I know his one song and his one band. It's Fender.
Okay.
Those, but
okay.
Procol Harum.
Oh, okay.
Wire Shade Pale.
Yeah.
That's how I ever know.
Okay.
Rory Gallagher.
Another big time telly guy. Mm-hmm. I don't. You guys know that unless. I hate to say it like this, but some of my favorite bands, there was a bunch of junkies in those bands. So unless you're a heroin junkie, I probably didn't like your band. I don't like heroin,
okay.
But I wasn't into country music.
We'll end on this one because it's a different.
Okay.
And you can wrap it up because we got about 7 minutes.
Okay.
Of this thing here. Lindsey Buckingham.
Certainly played lots and lots of guitars early on, but best known for the Rick Turner Model 1. Rick Turner recently passed. Recent enough to still be recent. guys, I have made lots of versions of other people's instruments to try and kind of get better at my craft, So I made a bunch of Les Pauls, and I made Paul Reed Smiths, I made some Rickenbackers, I made Strats, I made Tellys. When Andrew St. Pierre came to me and said, I want to rent your shop for a week, and I want to try and build a Rick Turner Model 1 style guitar. And this was he just wanted to try and do it. He wanted to make it because he liked those guitars. We're not selling Model 1s. I was terrified. Up to that point, everything was, well, okay, it's pretty much easy. Rickenbackers were tricky because all the parts are very peculiar to Rickenbacker. But Turner Model 1, it's like Rick Turner is an absolute genius and was a god in terms of guitar building. All the stuff that he did was like, man, he was absolutely a genius. And if you ever got a chance to meet Rick Turner, consider yourself lucky. So the Turner Model 1 is, among other things, had all kinds of crazy laminations and Purple Heart and maple, and the guitars were solid, but they had a 25-inch radius on the top and back, and he had to make all these special tools to get them to go, and the pickups were crazy. Rick Turner was, we are all lucky to have lived in a time when Rick Turner was alive.
Okay.
So
last one.
Yeah. Okay. Last one.
Last one. I promise. Michael Schenker.
Michael Schenker. So from Scorpions and UFO, those Gibson Flying Vs, the two-tone Flying Vs, right? With black with white and stuff. And then who's the other?
I only know this because of strings, I think.
The strings?
Well, this is his guitar maker of choice. I think I know that they make strings.
Okay.
Or make pickups, I don't know. Ernie Ball.
Ernie Ball. Yeah, so Ernie Ball is that make guitars and basses, and of course they're the number one string guys in the world, I think. But so Michael Schenker plays an Ernie Ball?
That's what it says.
I did not know that. Yeah. I remember him in the Scorpions and UFO and stuff playing Flying Vs, but yeah. Okay.
We could go on, but there we go.
Well, let's wrap it up, and because this was fun, and I urge you guys to, if you can get your person that that is in your life to read off a thing and do this with you, it's a lot of fun to see how much you know. I don't know them all, and it's kind of the fun part is not knowing everything, right? So I probably got some stuff wrong, or maybe got some stuff right, and if you guys had fun, give me the thumbs up. We'll see you next time for a live video, but this was a great time. I'm going to have probably I want to talk a lot about the Rocky Mountain Archtop Festival because it's concluding as you watch this. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a great week. This is Matt from Texas Toast, reminding you that if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. Oh, and let's buy some t-shirts and buy some candles. All that stuff is on the website. If you haven't bought Joy's magazine, I urge you to do so. You can buy that on the website too. It's texastoastguitars.com. All of our merch is there. We have all these yummy, smell good candles. October, okay. Yeah, lots and lots of good stuff. Get out before it gets too cold and play a guitar outside. Drag your amp out into the yard and just crank it up and see if you can irritate your neighbors.
Tell us what the scents are on it.
Oh, what are the scents? I can't.
It's got the crackling wick and the.
Okay, yeah. So these candles are cool, you guys. One of Joy's friends makes these. They have wood wicks. They make your house smell nice. So yeah, you don't want to live in a place that stinks. So yeah, this have a leather and it smells like wood and leather and stuff. It smells really good. And you can get one of those and make your house smell good. How much they go for when they come out?
They come in October. So
come in October. So yeah, can you pre-order them yet? All right. Okay. Well, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time. This is Matt at Texas Toast. Once again, reminding you that if you're so smart, start your own YouTube channel. That's what I did. See you next time.